Hi, Jonas and Cam. Today we are going to read the final chapters, the conclusion of The Wizard of Oz. Now, there's some other books in this series that we could read, or some other books that I think you might enjoy. So maybe we can talk about that later. Chapter 20, The Country of the Quadlings. So here is a picture of a steep hill. Can you see that? All right. The four travelers passed through the forest safely. When they came to the edge of the forest, they saw a steep hill covered from top to bottom with large pieces of rock. "This will be difficult to climb," said the Scarecrow, "but we must get over the hill." So he led the way, and the others followed. They had just reached the first rock when they heard a voice cry out, "Keep back!" Then from behind the rock stepped out the strangest man any of them had ever seen. That man must be pretty strange because they were just in a land where everyone was China. He was short and stout and had a big head, which was flat on the top and supported by a thick, wrinkled neck. He had no arms at all. The Scarecrow saw this and did not think that such a helpless creature could prevent them from climbing the hill. So he said, "I'm sorry not to do as you ask, but we must pass over this hill, whether you like it or not." As fast as lightning, the man's head shot forward, and his neck stretched out until the flat part of his head hit the Scarecrow in the stomach and sent him falling over down the hill. Then the creature's head returned to the body, and he laughed and said, "It's not as easy as you think." A chorus of laughter came from the other rocks, and Dorothy saw hundreds of armless hammerheads on the hill. They realized it was hopeless to attempt to fight these strange creatures. "Let's call the winged monkeys," said the Tin Man. So here are the hammerheads. Interesting. Let's make sure my phone's off so it doesn't ring again. So Dorothy put on the golden cap and said the magic words. In a few minutes the monkeys stood before her. Dorothy ordered the King of the Monkeys to carry them over the hill into the country of the Quadlings. At once the monkeys picked them up and flew away with them. As they passed over the hill, the hammerheads yelled with anger and shot their heads high in the air, but they could not even come close to the winged monkeys. After they had been set down in the country of the Quadlings, the King of the Monkeys said goodbye to Dorothy and quickly flew away. So remember, Dorothy had 3 times that she could call on the monkeys. One time the monkeys couldn't help her, so she kind of wasted that. But anyway, the country of the Quadlings was rich and happy. The fields were full of wheat, and there were pretty rippling brooks and well-paved roads. The houses were all painted red, bright red, and the Quadlings were short and fast, looked chubby and happy. So here are the monkeys carrying Dorothy and her friends. There are the hammerheads trying to get at them. And here's a picture of the Quadlings. Let's see. They dressed all in red, which contrasted with the green grass and the yellow grain. The monkey set them down near a farmhouse, and the 4 travelers walked up to it and knocked at the door. It was opened by a farmer. When Dorothy asked for something to eat, the woman gave them all a good dinner, with 3 kinds of cake and 4 kinds of biscuits and a bowl of milk for Toto. "How far is it to the castle of Glinda?" asked Dorothy. "It's not far," answered the farmer. "Take the road to the south and you will find it." They thanked the woman and walked until they saw a very beautiful castle. 3 young girls stood in front of the gates. One of them said to Dorothy, "Why have you come to the South Country?" "To see the Good Witch," she answered, and the girl asked them to wait a moment and went inside the castle to tell Glinda that they had come. So here's the girl outside the castle, And let's see what happens next. Chapter 21. Glinda grants Dorothy's wish. Here's Glinda, the good witch. After a few minutes, the girl came back to say that Dorothy and the others were admitted to the castle at once. Before they went to see Glinda, they were taken to a room where they had washed and fixed themselves up so that they looked nice. They'd been traveling for a long time, probably were a little dirty and stinky. When they were all quite presentable, they followed the girl into a big room where the witch Glinda sat upon a throne of rubies. She was a beautiful witch. Her hair was a rich red and fell in curls and waves at her shoulders. Her dress was pure white, but her eyes were blue, and they looked kindly upon Dorothy. "What can I do for you, my child?" she asked. Dorothy told the witch her long story. She left out nothing. She talked for a long time. "My greatest wish now," she added, "is to go back to Kansas, for Aunt Em must be very worried." Glinda leaned forward and kissed Dorothy's face. "Bless you, dear heart," she said. "I am sure I can tell you how to return to Kansas. But if I do, you must give me the golden cap." "Of course," said Dorothy. "It is of no use to me now. When you have it, you may command the winged monkeys 3 times." Glinda smiled knowingly, and Dorothy handed her the golden cap. She turned to the Scarecrow and asked, "What will you do when Dorothy has gone back to Kansas?" So here's Glinda kissing Dorothy. Remember, she got a kiss from the other good witch as well. So let's see what this good witch's kiss does for her. "I will return to the Emerald City and be the ruler there," he answered. Then Glinda asked the Tin Man and the Lion where they would go after Dorothy had returned home. The Tin Man thought for a moment and answered he wished to return to the land of the Winkies, and the Lion wanted to go back to his forest and be king of the beasts. Glinda knew that the journey back to these places would be long and difficult, so she explained that she would use the power of the golden cap to grant the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion their wishes. The winged monkeys would carry them safely to their destinations. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion thanked the good witch for her kindness, and then Dorothy said, "You are certainly as good as you are beautiful, but you have not yet told me how to get back to Kansas." So here's Glinda the Good Witch talking to the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. "Your silver shoes will carry you over the desert," answered Glinda. If you had only known their power, could have gone back to your Auntie Em the very first day you came to this country." "But then I would not have gotten my wonderful brain," said the Scarecrow. "And I would not have received my kind heart," said the Tin Man. "And I might have stood and rusted in the forest forever." "And I would have always been a coward," said the Lion. "And no beast in all the forest would have had a good word to say about me." "That is all true," said Dorothy, "and I am glad that I could help my friends. But now that they have gotten their wishes and are happy, I think I would like to return to my home in Kansas." "The silver shoes have wonderful powers. They will take you any place in the world in just 3 steps. All you have to do is knock the heels together 3 times and command the shoes to take you wherever you wish to go," explained Glinda. So there's Dorothy and her shoes, and Glinda's explaining all of that to her. "If that's so," said Dorothy, "I will ask them to carry me back to Kansas." She kissed the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow and said goodbye, and they all cried and hugged her tightly. Glinda stepped down from her throne and kissed Dorothy goodbye. Dorothy thanked her for her kindness, and then Dorothy took Toto in her arms and said one last goodbye to her friends, and clapped the heels of her shoes together 3 times and said, "Take me home to Kansas, take me home to Kansas, take me home to Kansas." In a few seconds she was whirling through the air so fast that all she could see or feel was the wind whistling past her ears. So there she is, holding Toto, getting herself back to Kansas. And the last chapter of the book, chapter 22, Home Again. Aunt Em had just come out of the house to water the cabbages when she looked up and saw Dorothy running to her. "My darling," she cried as she held Dorothy in her arms, "where in the world did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy, "and here is Toto too. And Auntie Em and Aunt Em, I am so happy to be home again." Here's Dorothy hugging her Aunt Em and little Toto in the background. And that's the end of the book. The end. I hope you enjoyed that. Till next time, love you.